everyone. Thanks for stopping by today to check out Maker Mondays with Seesaw. You will notice that you are in listen only mode. You can type questions into the question box, and if we have time, we will get to those at the end. But I want to introduce you to Jodee Lund. Jodee is a tech integration specialist working in a K-12 setting in Minnesota. She is a former high school social studies teacher. She's a Seesaw ambassador as well as a Nearpod pioneer and author. She is also leading edge certified in blended and online learning. And please connect with Jodee on Twitter as well. She is going to share her ideas. I'm passing the screen over to her right now, and she's going to get started talking more about how they do Maker Mondays at her school. Yep, there you go, Jodee. Just do it right.
Yep, I'm just trying to. There we go. All right.
Welcome, Jodee.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Angela. All right. Well, hey, everyone. I'm Jodee Lund, and we kickstarted Maker Monday in February. And the big push behind Maker Mondays is really to better meet the needs of all students. To kind of clarify, when we wanted to roll out our Makerspace program, we really wanted buy-in from our teachers. And so we decided to implement it as a gifted and talented program. We, as a district, have quite a few things already in place to meet the needs of a lot of our students who struggle, to say the least. And so we decided, what can we do to meet the needs of our gifted and talented? And so we decided to go with this. And teachers really evaluate standard-based testing data to identify those students, and then they also get to choose how long kids get to spend on Maker Mondays. And Maker Mondays happen every second and fourth Monday of the month from 8:30 to 11 a.m. for grades 4 through 6. And then in the afternoon from 12:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., our 7th through 12th graders get time in the Makerspace. And again, teachers get to decide, do the students get to come for an hour? Do they get to come for 2 hours? Almost all of our 4 through 6 teachers allow students to come for the entire time, which was a little nerve-wracking because I was nervous that students wouldn't be able to attend in our Makerspace, our Maker Mondays for the entire time, but they definitely proved me wrong. For me, Makerspaces is a passion. Project-based learning is really what it is, and we know that's how kids learn best. And so, to me, education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire, and so I wanted to light fires. It's also a great program in the fact that it builds character. It gets kids to be curious, and so often schools are so structured and we have so many demands to meet that sometimes we forget to allow kids to be curious. And so really emphasizing and letting kids be curious is huge. And also getting them to become determined and motivated and emphasize that growth mindset, which I think really fits the gifted and talented program. Sometimes those gifted and talented students aren't challenged enough, and so when they do face challenges, they are sometimes maybe the first ones to give up. And so I think this is great for creating and challenging our gifted and talented to establish a growth mindset. It also creates problem solvers. It creates kids that have grit, and then also kids are having to collaborate. A lot of times they are given the opportunity to work individually or in groups, and a lot of the kids want to work in groups, and they work so well with each other. Number 2, what is a Maker Monday? So really what it is it's a tech playground infused with design challenges to provoke critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. The 4 C's is huge in Makerspaces, along with the engineering process. And again, so this occurs every second and fourth Monday, 4 through 6 in the morning, and 7 through 12 in the afternoon. And I usually try to set up about 6 to 7, maybe 8 stations, and these stations vary from maybe just learning a new tech tool and creating something with that tech tool, whether it's the 3 doodler pens, our 3D printers, maybe it's makey, or it could be something as simple as, like last week we ran, okay, since it's March, how about design your own leprechaun trap? And there were certain elements that they had to include. Something so simple, but the kids made it so complex. I had groups working on this challenge for 2.5 hours, so it was really neat. So if you're curious on how to get started with Maker Mondays or a concept similar to that, I have a lot of example activities listed in this folder here, this link. Um, and I can't take credit for them. Some of them I kind of had the idea in the back of my head, and instead of reinventing the wheel, there's always probably something out there, so I kind of beg, borrow, and steal, and I Googled a bunch of things, found some resources, tweaked them so that the directions really were clear for my audience, for my students in 4 through 6, because I realized with that grade level, and when it's me and 30, I have about 36 kids who come in, and granted they are you're gifted and talented, but still 4 through 6 struggle really breaking down directions and following those directions. So I've really had to be careful on how I write those directions. So if you're looking for some ideas, you can check out that folder. No, always check back because I'll be constantly adding activities to that folder as I progress through the year. So Seesaw was my go-to tool. I absolutely love Seesaw. I unfortunately never got to use it as a teacher because I came across it from Angela at Minneapolis iPad Palooza the summer before I became a tech integration specialist, and I fell in love with it and immediately had to show my teachers what you could do with this tool. And it's taken off. It's one of our most loved tools here in our school district, and so I knew exactly what I wanted to use when I wanted to capture learning in our makerspace. And so I have this poster up around our makerspace, which our makerspace is located in our media center. Our media center is huge, and which is kind of, which is a great thing. We're not a huge district by any means. We have about 1,200 students and 90 teachers here. And so half of our media center is a makerspace and half of it is a traditional library. So in the makerspace, I have these posters hanging up, and it shows kids how to get into Seesaw. Some kids have experience with Seesaw, but not all of them. But now all the ones in makerspace have experience. So I wanted to use Seesaw because you can really capture the journey and not just the destination, and that's why I had that poster. But I feel like with makerspaces, that's what it's all about. It's about the journey. It's about the learning process and the power of reflection. And so you really get to do that in Seesaw. And I have some examples later on that you can check out. But students reflect on a journal question. They'll reflect on their learning process. Any station that they participate in, they have to talk about, okay, what was successful, what was a challenge, how would I change this process if I did it again, where am I going to pick up next time I come back? Or maybe there are some other reflection questions that are directly tied to the lesson. So I really like that because I get to see them thinking and learning through a student's eyes, which is really powerful for me as a tech integration specialist, because my job is to sell these tools and to other teachers and show them how it enhances student learning. And what better way to do that with videos and that show learning through a student's eyes. And sometimes my challenge for students is, okay, this is a great tool, it's a lot of fun, but now how can you tie it back? How could you use this in your classroom? And the kids love that challenge because they want their teachers to use this in everyday classrooms. Again, I get to assess learning and provide feedback. So I always provide feedback on almost every single entry, which is time consuming, I know, for a regular everyday teacher. For me, I get the day that I create my stations, I also go into Seesaw and provide feedback. And so I only have one class, it makes it doable, but I really think that feedback is an important part of the process. So in Seesaw, I have it set up with a Google sign-in. So kids sign in with their Google account, their Google email account, and then they get the class code to join. So that's how I have my 4th through 6th graders sign in. And we use both iPads and Chromebooks in the makerspace, which is perfect because sometimes you need the iPads for programming, the robots, making iMovies, and then sometimes it's nice to have the Chromebooks for going into Tinkercad and doing some 3D prints or utilizing Makey. I love the benefits of Seesaw because I like that I can organize folders and keep things organized for students. So you can see here that these were my folders when I first got started. So I have a folder for 3D pens, printing. I have folder for just art. So we use Play-Doh and we use the app Play-Doh Touch with that, which kids went crazy over last Monday. We have dash and dot. So whatever kids create, then they add that to that folder if it's for that particular station. What they also have to do is really emphasize the engineering process throughout this learning. So anytime that they submit something, they have to also reflect on how they're meeting the engineering process. And we're not really doing super great at that right now, but that's my goal, is to really have them reflect on those stages. It's great for me. I can also share resources. So we had some struggles with syncing the iPads to the Sphero balls, and so I shared resources on how to kind of reset those Sphero balls by docking them back on their docking station and then resetting the Bluetooth. So sharing resources like that to help our students become problem solvers is also great. It keeps learning organized, and again, it helps me better learn through their eyes. So some examples, you can take a look here. Kids, the three doodler pens are amazing. I can't stress enough how much the kids love that. They're probably our top tool in makerspaces and in classrooms. So this is kids just creating art and being able to express themselves creatively, not tied to any standards, and for me that's okay. But if you wanted to tie this to a standard, for example, you could have my husband, who teaches 5th grade science, Nate Lund. He actually had kids, they were working on classifying bugs. And so he told the kids, you get to become an entomologist, where you're going to go out and you're going to find a bug. And so they classified it, and then they actually created a 3D model of that bug that they classified in their journals. So that's one way you could also use this. We also had business class. Our business teacher, Karna Palmer, she used this for kids to create their logos, business logos for class, and our Spanish teacher also had kids recreate sugar skulls for Day of the Dead. So those are some other examples that you could use this within curriculum. Journal reflections. Again, here, this is a student who talked about what they made. So again, just sharing what they did on that day, it helps me know that what did they learn in that process. And again, we started out with the journal reflection last Monday of, okay, you guys have had some time to explore. We haven't really talked about who is a maker, what does a maker do, you know, and what are characteristics of it. So that was my first journal reflection. True reflection question in Seesaw, and so that's in that last one there. Sphero Chariot Challenge, so kids are taking videos of what they're doing in the maker spaces.
Right up the tail. No, I want to breathe. You need to make sure to take your breath. That's in the wrong direction, but it works.
So not the best video, but I showed this video because you could see the excitement, or hear the excitement, I should say, in the child's voice. You got to see their contraption that they built. It worked. What you don't know is that when they needed it to turn, it didn't turn. So then the students came back the following time and trying to figure out, okay, they got to build something that will allow their chariot to be able to turn. So they had to do some further problem solving.
And
it allows...
Jodee, too, I think, so just to let everyone know, you're going to get the slides because you have registered. So I think we're going to let them kind of view all of these when they get the slides as well.
Perfect. All right.
So they have more time to kind of really explore that. But I want to have time for any questions here. We're a couple minutes over, so I want to move on to if people have any questions. And Jodee, you can go ahead and go to your next slide too.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead and talk about this if they're typing in questions now.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. So I'll quickly wrap this up. So future development. So we just got started, like I said, in February. It's going awesome. I couldn't imagine how successful this is really going. I mean, it's amazing. So, so future development within Seesaw, the cross collaboration. So I really want kids to collaborate within different groups, give some peer feedback. I also would like to connect, so if there's anyone watching that's doing Maker Mondays or something similar, and you want to connect with blogs, I think it would be really cool if kids could almost like that pen pal situation where they could share their inventions, or if we could even have kids work on the same design challenge and see what different classes are coming up with, and then give peer feedback with different classes around the world. I think would be really cool. And then also, like I said, stressing that engineering language and discuss successes and failures while alluding to what students' next steps will be. We're getting there, but again, it's repetition and it's building routine. And the first couple times is really left to exploration. And so we're getting there, and it's really exciting. So, couple questions, Angela. Were you thinking about answering? Hello?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Yep. So Allison wants to know, and you can go to your next slide too, so they can see how to contact you. But Allison wants to know, is the Play-Doh app available for the Chromebooks? Did you have an app that went with Play-Doh, or were you just
Yep,
going
there
at it?
was an app. It's Play-Doh Touch, and it's for the iPads.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no Chromebooks. Yep.
iPad only. Well, Jody, I'm going to encourage everyone to reach out to you via email or even Twitter. And great ideas. I think everyone's mind is got a fresh new idea to bring back to their classroom and their school as well. So, Jody, thanks for coming today.
Thank you.